Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Right, if you just joined us, it's still Enterprise Weekend on Enterprise TV, and now to our main conversation. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has most recently been observed to have risen to its duty of eradicating economic and financial crimes through prevention, enforcement, and coordination. With a vision to free Nigeria from economic and financial crimes, the EFCC has seen to have most recently beamed its searchlight from the not-too-popular cybercrime criminals who are majorly young unemployed Nigerians to Nigeria's elite of the elite and their blue-chip companies. Aside the investigation of the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Faruk, who was charged for 37.1 billion naira fraud. Also on investigation is Halima Shehu, the National Coordinator and CEO of National Social Investment Program Agency, who also is under investigation for 17 billion naira fraud. The most recent of them all is the investigation of forex allocation from the CBN under Emefiele in connection to Dangote Group, Bua and Flour Mills Limited. Apart from the three mentioned companies, 49 other companies are under investigation by the EFCC, for which all companies involved with the Dangote Group have denied wrongdoing. Are Nigerians witnessing a rebranded EFCC, or is this some sort of what most Nigerians humorously would label in pidgin English as initial gara-gara? Still with me in the studios is Barrister Evans Ufele. Thank you so very much for still being part of our show today. Now, the big question is, just like you heard, is this some sort of initial gara-gara, or are we actually having a truly rebranded EFCC that understands its duty?
Well, I will tell you what EFCC, what they are good at and what they are not good at. This is neither initial gara-gara or a rebrand version of the EFCC, a rebranded version of the EFCC. It's neither here nor there. Okay, the EFCC, they are good at what they call citing. Okay. Citing, tracing. Because you look at the law that established them, the EFCC Act gave them those powers. Citing, tracing, arrests. Okay. But after arrest, the EFCC is so weak. Yes, so, and this other aspect that I talk about, citing, tracing, arrest, can be done by anybody. Allegation can be extended to anywhere. Arrest can be extended to anywhere. What the law says is reasonable suspicion. And what is reasonable suspicion under the law is not defined. It's discretionary. That is why you cannot just use reasonable suspicion to sustain trial. So, yes, they are good at all that, but when it gets to prosecution, which is the heart of criminal action, that is when you discover that they have a lot to learn.
Is it because it's not under their jurisdiction, or
No,
is it because to prosecute?
Yes.
As a law court, or what exactly? What?
No, to prosecute now. It's not a law court.
To charge or what?
They are what you call an agency, security agency of government, with the powers under the extant law to arrest and prosecute suspects. Prosecution means take them to court.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That's what it means.
Okay.
Prosecution, they take them to court. And not just to take them to court, prosecute them in court. Prove the case that they committed the offense for which they are alleged for or of. And let the court convict them on the strength of the proof. You understand?
Okay.
Now, when it gets there, you see these women that have been accused of 3.37 something billion, right?
Yeah, that's
and the other
7
one,
and 17 billion.
and Egbefele, and all of them. At this stage, at the stage of allegation, you can actually put in any amount of money based on what you have seen, based on investigation, maybe documents you have seen. Put them together and say, all these funds put together, you are, you are a suspect. We think that you embezzled this amount and that amount and that amount. Because you can't go to court without putting a figure. So, but to prove those figures now.
Exactly.
Because, see, the court is not where you come with allegation. The court will just be looking at you. You understand? Because the court is for both the prosecution and the defense. The court is not for the prosecution. And it is the law that you must prove your case on the strength of it and not on the weakness of the defendant's case. You will be said to have proven your case if the evidence you tender before the court are overwhelming, okay, compelling enough, and the arrows of guilt are all shooting towards the defendants unequivocally. And when you have done that, the defendant, under the Constitution, Section 35 of the Constitution, is empowered by law to be given adequate time and facility to defend this case. So if what you have proven, the defendant disproves it, because the onus, the burden of proof is on the prosecution. What we call burden of proof in law. It's the prosecution that brought the defendant to court, so the prosecution has to prove it. Okay? But when you prove it, the onus shifts from the prosecution to the defendant. And when the defendant disproves, it moves again back to the prosecution.
So why aren't we having an EFCC that provides more than enough evidence such that people do not disprove the evidence that they have?
Don't provide enough evidence because they don't investigate before arrest.
But you did say they have all the apparatus to do.
They have the apparatus, but what they do is that they rush to arrest.
Oh.
So that they can make headlines. So by the time they rush to arrest, after arrest, they will not be looking for evidence to prosecute.
Okay.
You understand? So that rushing to arrest is where their problem is. Because by which time the suspect arrested will go to court and challenge the EFCC against his fundamental rights. Because they want to hold you more than 48 hours. Okay? So once it's beyond 48 hours, the person has gone to court to file a case against the EFCC for fundamental right enforcement. Before they're able to come up with the evidence to come up, so they want to now prosecute proper, you have also, as a defendant, gotten enough evidence. And the law is that the prosecution must prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. Once you are unable to do that, what a smart defense counsel would do in case like this is to create doubt in the mind of the court. Because the law is that once doubt is created in the mind of the court, it should be resolved in favor of the accused or defendant. You understand? They have gotten a lot of conviction because some of the persons whom they have also accused, arrested, and prosecuted were actually guilty.
Okay.
And so it's easy for the few evidence they have or the much evidence they have to inculpate the defendant such that it's overwhelming. In some cases, the defendants themselves willingly plead guilty to the offenses.
Okay.
And the court summarily convicts the defendant. Now, each time you hear EFCC brag about 280 convictions, 618 convictions, most of them, 90%, are defendants who pleaded guilty. Not because
not because they have done more than enough job.
Not because they have the technical. There are very controversial cases. You understand? If you are saying a man has stolen 600 million, if you are saying a man has stolen 600 million, and that's what is in your charge sheet, you must prove that he stole 600 million. By the time you are unable to prove he stole 600 million, you have lost that charge. That you have lost. There's doubt. The court will not also believe you if you now let us say, maybe it's not 600 million. We did not calculate it well. It's 400. That particular charge has failed against the defendant. So, you see why I said that if you say I stole this cup, this is a cup, it's a white, immaculate. And during cross-examination, you tendered a brown cup with a saucer.
Okay.
You have lost that case. You know why? The court can no longer trust you that you actually know what you are prosecuting. So sometimes even people who are guilty in the eyes of morals can get into the witness box and go scot-free. Go scot-free because the prosecution did not prosecute this case well, and the court will not help you to prosecute your case. The court is not Father Christmas. It will not give you what you not ask for. Two, the court will not manufacture evidence for you to help you to prosecute your case. So if you say somebody stole 600 million, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. And if you say he stole 600 million, and you found 600 million in his account, it's not enough. You must prove how that 600 million is a proceed of crime. That's the next step. So the reason that is done is because it is better to free 99 criminals than to convict one innocent person.
Now, they say to whom much is given, much is expected. Do we blame all of this on the not so good leadership dexterity of the people in charge? Of course, we've had Nuhu Ribadu, Farida Waziri, Ibrahim Lamude, Abdul Rashid Bawa, and currently Ola Olukoyede. Do we blame all of these issues on lack of leadership dexterity?
From Ribadu's time till now, the EFCC have been losing cases. The difference between Ribadu time and now is that Ribadu had the balls to go after governors, carry them and put them in jail. He had the balls to reject stolen funds that Ibori gave to him. He took it to the central bank and still ordered the prosecution. Do you understand? That's the difference between him is his ability his ability to stand as a patriotic citizen, weather the storms of corruption. You understand? But the ones that came after him, after Waziri, what took them away? Mangu own was, he was having first issues with the AG, the Attorney General of the Federation, on who have jurisdiction to manage confiscated properties of suspects. Because when they go to court and get an interim order, sometimes some suspects who are actually guilty, they will run away, they will disappear. So they will now go further to the court to get an order to dispose those properties and take the money back to the CBN, reinject it into the economy. In the process of doing that, managing, because EFCC is the only institution prosecuting, arresting, confiscating, and still managing the resources they confiscated. That's where they mess themselves up. The federal government is going to create another institution where if EFCC has gotten an order to, confiscate the property, another institution is going to take over the management of that property.
But isn't what AMCON is doing?
No,
are they not into?
No, AMCON is different. AMCON manage debt.
Oh, okay.
Debt management, bad debts and all that. If you are a bank, you are indebted so much to the point that you are unable to subsist. AMCON takes over, buy over the debt and liability. They use their own lawyers to recover. You understand?
Okay.
so that the investors can have their funds and all that. So that's what I'm talking. This is what I'm talking about. Confiscated properties, proceeds of crime.
Okay.
When you launder money, or you took money by false pretense, those monies are still found around you, because you go and buy property, buy cars, buy this, buy that. You understand? Those cars are auctioned. You understand? Even in the auctioning, the racketeer, an institution that is supposed to be above board, from Magu, the one that took Magu down completely was the issue of he went to Hajj and he was spending so much. The same thing that affected Bawa and all that, and the investigation came on them and all that. So EFCC, it's not, the only difference is that Ribadu had the balls to do what he did because of his support and all that, and his own political will. But others, virtually, I said from when EFCC was created in 2003, they were losing cases from 2003 because they were arresting just like police were arresting. You know, it's the police they took to start it now. So the police just arrest people, arrest them, put them. Some of them will plead guilty. Some you will succeed and you have them convicted. Many you will not be able to prove the case. So we are not seeing a rebranded EFCC or a new EFCC or one that in 2003, when it's the EFCC, in 2004, there was a relative of mine that was involved in one of the cases. EFCC could not prove anything. That was when they were raiding under the Ribadu. You understand? And it was about 100 and something count charges. They couldn't prove one. So I am not, I will not agree that this is a rebranded EFCC now. And there's nothing rebranded about it. If you don't conclude your investigation before arrest, chances are that you will not be able to prove that case during trial.
Okay, now let's look at, you just said you don't think that the current EFCC order under Ola Olu Koyode is not a rebranded EFCC. Okay, now let's look at the effect on the victims now. Let me take a very good example, Dangote. We all know him as a jolly good fellow. This is one man that parties with everyone. He doesn't have any enemy. He's one singular Nigerian that has opened his doors to investment in the country, and lots of people work under him. Now, what do you think could be the possible international perception on Dangote Group with this issue, with this scandal?
Yeah, well, it puts them in bad light. But there's something about international perception. International perception will not completely condemn you based on allegation.
Okay.
Yes, it's an allegation now. They have not proven any case and found him guilty of any offense, or the company. You understand? The company is a separate entity. He is an entity of his own.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, but what they have done now is indictment. Okay? It's coming at the hour where also a South African businessman has just taken over as the richest man.
Johan Rupert.
Yeah. So, it's not a good time for Dangote. I can tell you that. I don't envy him, but I see that there is no way you will be that big in business and not have challenges. There's no way. You can't. You must have challenges. Yes. Dangote tell you now that this is the amount I'm owing, you will not believe.
But this scandal is, but this scandal seems to be, you know, the biggest of them all. And knowing that this is happening under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's one of his alleged best ally. Don't you think there's something that Nigerians are not seeing? And secondly, again, some Nigerians would say, you know, for some time now, the people that have headed EFCC have all come from the north, and they're Muslims. And now this is the first time we're having a Southerner, a Christian, a pastor headed the EFCC. Are we?
I don't think, let's not bring religion.
I'm not trying to be a segregationist, of course, but let's...
because if you start to discuss the Southerner factor, and that is why a Northerner is being prosecuted, no. You know why? You know why I said no? Because I know that the other two women are also Northerners.
Yes.
But don't forget that they were in positions where so much money were put in their care to hold in trust for the people. And these funds were allegedly mismanaged. You understand? So it doesn't matter whether they were Christian or Muslims. It could have been Southerners there. And of course, you know why they were also Northerners all through. Buhari's appointment, 90% Northerners. So it's just a coincidence. I don't think
that it happened this way.
Because if it were Tinubu, if it were Tinubu that was president then, you saw his appointment too. That's 90% Yoruba.
Yeah.
So it could have been Yorubas that would be prosecuting who headed those positions.
So and you're not thinking the Northerners would start thinking, okay, it's because it has tilted to this other side, we are being victimized.
Thinking is free. The woman thought is vast. You can think anything, especially when you don't have a trained mind too. People will always talk. They will feel and think that is he fighting us? You understand? Especially in Nigeria, where people preserve their teeth. My teeth is better than your teeth and all that. So it's possible people will think that way, but to be objective about it, I don't think is the right way to think. There's a right way to think. There's a wrong way to think. Were these people were they ministers? Yes. Was funds committed to their care? Yes. Is there an allegation that those funds were mismanaged? Yes. You understand? So it could have been anybody. It could have been anybody. So let us assume we're not conceding that this man, because he's from the south, is fighting those from the north. Assume we're not conceding. Let EFCC now investigate, prosecute. If they are found guilty along the line, they are still offenders. You don't understand what I'm saying? So let's not take it to the tribe or to religion or to whatsoever. There is reasonable suspicion that offense have been committed.
True.
Crime does not know gender, tribe, religion,
ethnicity.
You understand? Ethnicity and all that. Crime is gender blind, religious blind, ethnic blind, and all that. So if truly offense have been committed, then they will go in for it. That is what it is.
All right. Now, lastly, I'd love to ask you, for reference sake, you are an experienced attorney, and I'd love to ask, let's say you are given the position, you're given the opportunity to head EFCC, right? Understanding the Herculean issues we have, paddy, not wanting to offend your allies, your best friends, and all of that. How do you think you can better manage EFCC so we can have zero economic and financial crimes in Nigeria?
I will insist that investigations are concluded by EFCC before arrest. One of the problems they have is the rush to arrest and make headlines and do press conferences. Conclude your investigation. It is better if somebody's on the radar, is on the watch list, and you are investigating him secretly. You are better off. It makes your case easier at the court. You understand? Just like FBI, they will be watching and be monitoring one person for a long time, watching the movement, transaction, everything. Before they arrest, that is why they don't expend 48 hours before they charge to court. They don't expend 48 hours, they charge to court. You understand? Because they already have all the evidence. They already have what they want. What they are going to do is just to charge to court. The evidence is before them. And as they are going to trial, they are tendering evidence and they are going. So I will insist that. And I will also insist that people should not be raided and their human rights violated. You understand? People should be invited. When they don't turn up, you cannot arrest. Okay? And when they are arrested, they should not be kept beyond the time allowed by law. It's not everybody that is a criminal. When you go to EFCC, once you are indicted, once you have been invited, they just believe you're a criminal. You invite somebody, send an invitation letter to somebody's office that you're investigating a case you want him to answer a question. He comes on his own, willingly to say, Here am I. You convert that invitation to arrest. It's wrong. You don't treat people like that. He came on his own volition based on the
Invitation.
And the next thing, pull your shoe, remove your belt. You have not prosecuted him. You have not done anything. In fact, this is the first time you are seeing him. If had it been not honor that invitation, you will not still be able to get him. But he came there. So these issues of human rights, and then that will also ensure that the operatives of the Efcc are trained. All of them are not trained. Virtually all of them are not trained. They are so crude and stupid, some of them.
But are these people incubated from the Nigerian police, or where are
Some
they
of them are
getting
from the Nigerian police. Some of them were taken directly from, employed directly and trained.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes the way they go about issues, somebody is arrested. You have not done anything. You are already abusing him, calling him a criminal and all that. You have not prosecuted him. You don't have the right. You don't have jurisdiction to do that. You allow the law to take its course. That's how you operate in the civilized society. So training and retraining, and they're like 90% of them have no business being an EFCC operative because their mind, they are not trained. They don't have the intellectual texture in terms of training to work in that. It requires a lot about human psychology and human relations to be able to fit in to that job, so that you are only dealing strictly with those who evidence has proven that they committed an offense. You understand? So that, so that they will let the court now take it, let the court decide. You understand? There are times when people commit offense and they are sober. The court have a discretion. If the term of imprisonment is 7 years, like for stealing, for example, the court can give 2 years.
Because they've seen the situation.
It's not a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. Somebody committed an offense, it can change too. But this is not to say people should go about committing offense anyhow. So, but the way it is, that is why, was it Socrates that talk about the levy attacking? That people should not be allowed to lead until they are philosophers. Certain kind of training is required. No, you just have big, carry from here to here. Did you go to university? Yes. What did you score? 2-1. Yes, come. You come. Then after 6 months, they are now experts in this. It's not that's not how it's done.
Wow, this is truly a very interesting discussion, if you would ask me. And just like we believe in our country, a crime is not good for any nation, and that's why it's very important that agencies are given the right and the power to ensure that crime is eradicated, should do their best to ensure that their best is often and would always be the best. I want to thank you so very much, sir, Barrister Francis Ofeli, for being part of our show today. And to you, our viewers, would love to say thank you so very much for also being part of our show today. But please do visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com, and also follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. Subscribe to our YouTube channel also at Enterprise TV 7. I will see you next week for yet another awesome discussion on Enterprise Weekend. I am Henry Gwibike. Cheers.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.